Alright guys, welcome back to another fanfiction idea, and today I'm going to be talking about an interesting one, and that is Danny Phantom The End. Danny Phantom The End is very much inspired by the Marvel The End titles, which were considered like these out-of-continuity final stories of these Marvel characters. And in here I thought it'd be a cool idea to talk about like this idea for the final Danny Phantom story. So this takes place years after Phantom Planet, and it's set primarily in the Ghost Zone, because what had happened in the years that followed, nuclear war had devastated the Earth. So now there's a massive influx of spirits in the Ghost Zone, and the Earth outside is just wrecked. So the Ghost Zone is still standing, but there's been like a massive influx of ghosts. Trust me, the Ghost Zone is infinite enough to hold them, but it was like quite a bit that got in there. But however, Danny, on the other hand, Danny is now, in the years that have gone by, Danny has become the new King of Ghosts. He has taken on Pariah Dark's role. During the final years of Earth, what had happened was Pariah Dark had returned, and Danny and him battled, and eventually Danny defeated him. And absorbed his power. So Danny now possesses the power of Pariah Dark, and in doing so, he basically now is the ruler of the Ghost Zone. He is the new King of Ghosts. And yeah, either all of the enemies who he didn't defeat and slay are now either working for him or they're gone. Like, he evaporated them with his new power. So there's literally nobody left. There's literally nobody left for him to fight. And you're probably also wondering, well, where's everybody else? Well, the nuclear war I mentioned didn't happen for another 250 years. Danny has been around. His half-ghost body has given him an unnatural lifespan. He still ages, but it's still very slow, kind of like Wolverine. And in here, Danny is now... He's now, over 700 years old. But really, he looks like he's just now getting into his mid-60s. And everyone else has either died or, grown old and died or whatever. So yeah, he's all by himself in the Ghost Zone, except for the enemy, for the ghosts that he now leads. But he's become very bored. He's become there's literally nothing to do but rule. That is until he encounters a new foe that has been ransacking the Ghost Zone. And that person, his name is, he goes by the name Xander. But Xander is a little different because his full name is Alexander. And Alexander is his son. Alexander is Danny's son. Alexander Phantom is the son of Danny and Sam, who, it's a little dark, so prepare for this. Alexander is the son that Danny and Sam tried to have when they were married, but Sam had a miscarriage, and that ghost, of course, the ghost of that child, that unborn child, came to the Ghost Zone, and it festered and grew in just total hate. An infant spirit has just been festering and growing, and it has been able to age because of the mashup of DNA. And that was the other thing that killed it, was Danny's ghost DNA didn't bode well with with the fetus that was inside Sam. So basically, what Danny was given, the power he was given, he couldn't transfer naturally, and it basically killed their kid. And Sam, was so distraught over this, basically, divorced him, and Danny was left alone and sullen, just kind of absorbed into his own work. As for all of them, you may be thinking, well, why aren't they ghosts? Why aren't all of his friends and loved ones ghosts? Well, the Ghost Zone in here is purgatory. It is straight up purgatory, and all of his friends and family, or majority of them at least, got to ascend to heaven, whereas only a few got to be in purgatory. Among that number is Dash, who is still who's now still following Danny throughout his years as a ghost. So getting back to the point, Alexander is obviously mad that he never got a life because of his own father's genes, so he is going to burn down everything that his father was building. And Danny at first is like he's shocked that his own son is doing this. The son he never had, the son he wanted to have, but he basically murdered his own son by creating him. So Danny's left in this very this very opposition, that this fight that he's a new fight he always wanted is coming from his own child, and it's a child he murdered in a way. Or never never gave that kid a chance to live because of his own DNA. The thing that gave him his own powers and set him on this path was also the very thing that killed his child. And yeah, Danny is very conflicted about this. Because he still wants to connect with his son, but Alexander won't have it. He basically is like, you basically you're the reason why I'm like this. You made me this monster before I was ever, a thing. So Danny and Alexander's war in the Ghost Zone, the civil war between father and son, goes on for a good 700 years, for an extra 700 years in this timeline. And Danny's getting older. He's getting, in the 700 years, he's now, moved into, his, if we're going by human years, he's now, in his, late 70s, early 80s. And he's still very powerful, but, his age is getting to him. His decades of life are starting to wear on him, and Alexander doesn't have that problem because he's still he ages even slower. So inevitably, the final battle happens, and Alexander and Danny fight each other. Before Danny is dying, Alexander lands a fatal blow on him, and that's the moment Alexander's like, "Oh, I just killed my dad. I feel really awful about this." But at the same time, he's like, I feel awful about it, but I do it again. And as Danny's dying, he's just crying. He's just like, I'm sorry I failed you. I'm sorry, I did all of this to you and I didn't even know it. So, everything's yours, but please just, be good. Be good to these people. Be a good king. I know, you were raised in hate, but, please, just be better than me. Please just be better than me. Danny dies. He ascends to heaven, and Alexander now becomes the new king of the Ghost Zone. So, yeah. That was pretty fun. I wanted to do also, fun little side stories, in Danny's time as ruler, he killed Vlad, finally, because Vlad had returned from space with an alien armada from a race of beings he conquered while he was out in space after Phantom Planet. It was quick mentions of other great villains he had defeated over his, decades as the Ghost King. So you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this? Do you guys like it, hate it? Just comment below, let me know, and once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.